In the new space race, it's not just the usual superpowers making all the headlines. Today, we're digging into one of the most incredible stories happening in Europe right now. How Poland is quickly transforming from a major power on the ground to a nation building its very own sovereignty up in orbit. Over the last decade, Poland has transformed its space sector from a niche academic pursuit into a key pillar of national policy, security, and economic strategy. This is the story of Poland's bold strategic trajectory into orbit, aiming not just to participate, but to lead the future of European space technology. Poland's connection to the cosmos runs deep, beginning over 5 centuries ago with the revolutionary theories of Nicolaus Copernicus and the meticulous star mapping of Jan Hevelius. This legacy set the stage for Poland's first entry into the modern era of space exploration. That moment arrived on June 26, 1978, when Major Miroslav Hermaszewski flew aboard the Soviet Soyuz 30 spacecraft. For 8 days on the Salyut 6 space station, Hermaszewski became the first, and for nearly 47 years, the only Polish citizen to reach space. His mission involved 11 distinct experiments, including the Chaika experiment, which studied human blood circulation in microgravity. Hermaszewski's flight was hailed as a national triumph and helped solidify the importance of the Space Research Center of the Polish Academy of Sciences as a hub for instrumentation research. Following the Cold War, Poland reoriented its efforts westward, joining the European Space Agency, ESA, as a full member in 2012. This move was a game-changer, immediately providing access to advanced infrastructure, partnerships with major space sector companies, and personnel training programs. As many observers have noted, Poland is now a strategic player in Europe, and that's the key right there. Its space program isn't some vanity project. It is the absolute logical next step for a nation whose influence in economics and security is just expanding like crazy. And the numbers, wow, they really back this up. Poland has the 6th highest GDP in the entire EU and is a top 10 economy in NATO. But it's not just about size, it's about momentum. They've got the 2nd highest growth rate among those top economies. And militarily, their personnel numbers are now 3rd in all of NATO, only behind the US and Turkey. This is the kind of solid foundation you need to build a serious space program. So we've established that Poland has the muscle, but what was the urgent reason? What was the catalyst that turned a general interest in space into a full-throttle, top-level national priority? This right here, this is the turning point. You can see it plain as day. After a steady climb, you see this massive, steep jump in military spending after 2022. It more than doubled, making Poland the highest defense spender by GDP in the entire NATO alliance. This isn't just a budget increase, folks. This is a strategic shockwave. The war happening right on its border became a real-world, high-stakes classroom. It taught some stark, undeniable lessons about what 21st century warfare looks like and the now absolutely critical domain of space. Poland had a front-row seat. They saw how depending on other countries for satellite data could be a crippling weakness. But they also saw the flip side. How Ukraine, a nation with no military satellites of its own, got super clever and used commercial space data to gain a huge tactical edge. And Poland wasn't just watching. They were involved, buying and sending thousands of Starlink terminals to help Ukraine. The lesson was crystal clear. Having your own assets in orbit is no longer a luxury. It's a flat-out necessity for national security. So this brings us to the core mission of Poland's new program. It's not just about using space data anymore. It's about owning the means of production. It's about achieving what's called orbital sovereignty. Sure, you can rent time or buy data from allies or commercial satellites, but when a crisis hits, you're ultimately depending on someone else's priorities, on someone else's systems. And Poland has decided that this kind of dependence is a strategic risk it is just not willing to take anymore. And this timeline shows an absolutely incredible acceleration. Poland's first scientific satellites launched way back in 2013 and 2014. Those were important first steps, But look at the leap to 2025. The geopolitical reality in Central Europe, intensified by the war in Ukraine, has dramatically accelerated Poland's focus on military and informational sovereignty. Polish leadership views indigenous satellite capability as a critical strategic asset, ensuring independence from foreign data sources. This focus is driving two major constellations. PIAST, or Polish Imaging Satellites. This constellation consists of 3 satellites built on Creotech's HyperSat platform. The primary mission of PIAST is to provide high-resolution optical reconnaissance for military purposes, including infrastructure and terrain monitoring. This project marks the first operational use of Polish-made satellite platforms for national defense, signaling a significant milestone in orbital independence. The launch was scheduled for the symbolic date of November 11, 2025. It commemorates the day it regained its sovereignty on Earth back in 1918. Alongside PIAST, Poland has acquired synthetic aperture radar satellites from ICE-Eye to form the MicroSAR constellation. This technology allows for Earth observation regardless of time or weather, providing continuous, sovereign reconnaissance capability. To manage the immense amount of data generated by these constellations, Poland has developed the National Satellite Information System, or NSIS, Cloud. Developed for Polsa by the company Cloudfaro, NSIS Cloud provides a secure, sovereign national infrastructure for processing, visualizing, and storing Earth observation data, including imagery from the European Copernicus program and future national missions. This platform is vital for crisis management, environmental monitoring, and supporting public administration. Having both gives Poland a 24/7 recon capability completely under its own control. Dr. Grzegorz Brona, who's a huge figure in the Polish space sector, calls this a breakthrough moment, and he is so right. This isn't just about launching a satellite that was built somewhere else. This is about mastering the whole process, from the design and the build, all the way to integration and operation. It's a historic leap to Poland's technological independence. Now, a national space program of this size doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It needs a deep, vibrant, and innovative ecosystem of companies, agencies, and universities all pulling in the same direction. So let's take a look at the engine that's powering Poland's ambitions. At the center of it all is the Polish Space Agency, or Polsa. It was set up to coordinate all the country's space activities in 2014, and it really acts as the strategic hub, supporting the homegrown industry, building international partnerships, and just making sure all the moving parts of the national strategy work together. And Poland is really thinking about the long term here. In 2022, it launched eSabic Poland, which is a business incubator backed by the European Space Agency. This is all about nurturing the next generation of space entrepreneurs, giving startups in cities like Warsaw and Rzeszów the cash and technical help they need to grow into the giants of tomorrow. Now, weirdly enough, the fact that the industry is relatively young is actually one of its greatest strengths. Polish companies aren't stuck with old legacy hardware or decades of slow bureaucratic processes. They got to start fresh, which lets them be leaner, more agile, and perfectly tuned for the fast-paced small satellite world of new space. And the talent pipeline is strong. This innovation starts in university labs. A perfect example is PWSAT-3 from the Warsaw University of Technology. It's a student-built satellite that's designed to test a cool new deorbiting system. So the next generation isn't just learning theory, they're building real hardware that's going to fly in space and help tackle huge global problems like space junk. Okay, so we've seen the foundation, the catalyst, and the ecosystem. So where does Poland go from here? What is its role going to be in this new super dynamic era of space exploration and use? Well, the ambitions go beyond just military surveillance. In 2025, Poland achieved a monumental goal, sending its second national into orbit after almost half a century. Dr. Sławomir Uznanski-Wiśniewski, an ESA project astronaut, launched on June 25, 2025, as part of the commercial Axiom Mission 4, also known as AX-4, to the International Space Station. The mission, named Ignis, Latin for fire, symbolizing the spark of innovation, was a direct strategic investment by the Polish government, costing €65 million to accelerate the country's space sector and gain vital flight heritage. Uznanski-Wisniewski spent 20 days on the ISS, dedicating 105 hours to research, educational, and communication activities, and exceeding his assigned tasks by 27%. He carried the same Polish flag that Miroslav Hermaszewski flew in 1978, connecting Poland's history to its future. The mission portfolio included 13 experiments led by Polish institutions spanning bioscience, technology, and medicine, with discoveries aimed at benefiting Earth-based applications. The Ignis mission successfully enhanced Poland's international standing, established Polish competencies on a global scale, and sparked a nationwide educational program to inspire the next generation of engineers. To achieve true space autonomy, a nation needs its own access to space. Poland is rapidly developing domestic launch capabilities, primarily in the suborbital market. The ILR-33 Amber 2K rocket, developed by the Łukasiewicz Research Network Institute of Aviation, or ILOT, made history on July 3, 2024, by becoming the first domestically built Polish rocket to reach the Kármán line, 101 kilometers altitude. Amber 2K is globally recognized for pioneering the use of highly concentrated 98% hydrogen peroxide, or HTP, as an oxidizer. This fuel is considered an exceptionally eco-friendly or green propellant compared to traditional hypergolic fuels. This achievement positions Poland as a key player in developing sustainable transportation. In parallel, the private firm Space Forest successfully tested its Perun suborbital rocket in November 2024, aiming to commercialize launch services for microgravity experiments and technology testing. The successful tests of these systems, along with Polish concepts for larger recoverable suborbital missiles designed to carry dozens of kilograms of payload, demonstrate Poland's commitment to building a domestic space transportation industry, with aspirations to build a permanent launch site in Ustka. Looking beyond Earth orbit, Poland has aligned itself with NASA's deep space program by signing the Artemis Accords in October 2021. This commitment facilitates Poland's participation in international lunar exploration efforts. The priority project is the MIROS instrument, an orbital mission concept intended to map resources on the Moon. This work directly addresses the foundational goal of future lunar bases and the emerging market of space mining, an area where Polish universities are already educating specialized experts. Poland's ambition is underpinned by a robust and rapidly maturing industrial base, consisting of over 300 companies and nearly 12,000 employees. Polish firms excel in high-tech niches, thriving on a fail-and-fix philosophy that values agility and rapid iteration. Several companies are vital to this ecosystem. Creotech Instruments, the leader in satellite integration. Vigo Pytonics, a global leader in sensor technology. AROBS Polska specializes in control electronics. Cloud Faro, a European leader in data management. And PIAP Space focuses on robotics. The overall Polish strategy is clear. Focus investments on dual-use technologies that serve both civilian and defense needs and ensure that key competencies, from software to propulsion and optics, are controlled domestically. Poland has successfully transitioned from a historical curiosity in space exploration to a rising power in the European context. Its financial commitments to ESA have soared, channeling hundreds of millions of euros directly back into domestic industry and research. The country's space ambitions are driven by a strategic imperative for technological sovereignty, aiming to reduce dependence on foreign entities for critical reconnaissance and navigation capabilities. From the triumphant flight of the eco-friendly Amber 2K rocket to the launch of the sovereign Eagle Eye satellite and the historic human spaceflight of Dr. Uznansky on the Ignis mission, Poland is consistently proving its ability to execute complex space projects. The future trajectory is focused on reaching the ambitious goal of 3% market share by 2030 and actively contributing hardware and expertise to the Artemis program and the permanent presence of humanity on the Moon. Poland's journey into space is a story of national modernization, demonstrating that with strategic planning, targeted investment, and robust international cooperation, any nation can secure its place in the complex, essential frontier of space. As Poland cements its independence in orbit, how is this agile and ambitious new player going to reshape the future of space in Europe and maybe even beyond?